Resource management. Welcome to the 1 Minute Plus summary for resource management. There are 6 processes in resource management. But what is resource management? Resource management involves the planning, the acquiring, the development, the managing, the controlling of resources. Now let's get this straight. When we use the word control, we are not talking about the human resources. We're only talking about the physical. So the very first thing we do here is plan resource management. We plan how to manage our resources, be they human, equipment, material, supplies, or facilities. We develop a very elaborate plan in some instances, broken into the physical resource management plan or the physical resource plan, whatever you want to call it, for physical resources, but we also have the team management plan for the team. These 2 plans form the resource management plan. Now, the resource management plan guides us, again, on how to acquire resources, develop the team, manage the team, and control those resources. It also guides us on how to estimate how many resources we need and how. It's where we define how we will estimate the resources to begin with. So in this process, our major output from plan resource management is the resource management plan and the team charter. What is a team charter? Think about it like a team contract that defines ground rules, rules that the team should adhere to. Good versus bad behavior. I once trained a firm, a university to be precise, and they had a rule that if anyone used a bad word, a naughty word, they'd have to pay $5 into a swear jar. That's a perfect example of a team charter or a ground rule in the team charter. So the team charter defines good behavior, acceptable behavior, bad behavior, and we get these 2 outputs from plan resource management. Then we go to the next process, estimate activity resources, where we estimate the resources we need for the project. Now, there's a difference between estimating resources versus estimating duration. When we estimate resources, we're thinking of how many and how much of the resource do we need. But at the same time, we're also thinking about effort. How many hours of this resource's time do we need? I need 2 coders. How many hours apiece? 8 hours every day for the next 2 months. We have to be specific when we are acquiring our resources. So when we're estimating them, we need to be as precise as can be so hiring managers know what to expect from the project as far as availability. So in estimate activity resources, we come out with our resource requirements and a resource breakdown structure, which is a graphical hierarchical display of resources by type: human, equipment, materials, supplies, facilities, for example. Typically would be human, equipment, material, but it really depends on your specific project. Now, when you have your resource requirements and you know the breakdown, you can see the resource breakdown structure, the next step is to go to acquire those resources: human, equipment, material, supplies, all manner of resources. At the end of this process, acquire resources, hopefully, you'll get to the point where you have acquired your resources: human, equipment, material, supplies, facilities. And at the end of the day, we call that physical resource assignments or project team, in the case of human resources assignments. So we get these 2 outputs from acquire resources, and then we move into the next process exclusive to human resources. We call it develop team. Develop team is where, honestly, you're leading the team. It's code word for leading. You're leading the team, you're helping the team move forward, you're sending them for training, team building, you're getting them to synergize, you're getting them to review what they've been trained on, and you're trying to get assurance that indeed the training did actually work. So we have a tool and technique known as individual and team assessments. But from this process, we get an output known as team performance assessments. So a lot happens here. You send the team for training. You understand the 5 stages of team development: forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning, or mourning. You understand the whole thing, and you target to develop your team to burst through the storming stage and get to performing as soon as possible. So it's really a leadership thing. John Maxwell, he says, the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So it's all about influencing the team. A lot of PMs say, I'm the project manager, but I'm not the leader. Yes, you are. The project manager is a leader. And the PMI in the PMBOK guide, they identify this in chapter 3. In fact, I will read it to you. If you follow me to chapter 3 and page 53, at the very bottom, it says, research shows that successful project managers, as voted by their bosses and team members, distinguish themselves by demonstrating superior relationship. But the top 2% of project managers are being referred to here. And the top 2%, they distinguish themselves by demonstrating superior relationship and communication skills while displaying a positive attitude. Now, if that is not leadership, I do not know what is, because what is leadership? Influence. How do you get influence? Developing great relationships. You've got great relationship building skills, great communication skills, great interpersonal skills, you're on your way. And that is what helps you, the project manager, to do well in the develop team process. Then we move into manage team. Very similar. Developing the team, managing the team, they go hand in hand. But remember, in the definitions of the PMBOK guide, management and leadership are not the same thing. But I see develop team and manage team working together more in a leadership-oriented fashion than a management-oriented fashion. So even though the process is called manage team, you're really leading, as it were, because you're giving feedback, you're helping align the team, structure the team. There are some elements of management there because management is done with inanimate things, structure, order, processes, tools, stuff like that. We manage those things. We lead people, we manage things. So I would ask you to go to chapter 3 and get the backstory on leadership and management to do really well in chapter 9. Chapter 9 and 3 are very heavily interconnected without explicitly saying so, because it's really a leadership thing in develop and manage team. In order to do a good job at developing or managing the team, you need to be able to resolve conflict, and that means great interpersonal skills, because that's what you do in managed team. You resolve conflict, and the different approaches to conflict are talked about. You read up about that a little bit more. Now, after managed team, the last thing is control resources. This is, again, not the humans, the physical resources. We control the physical resources. We ensure that people got the resources they wanted when they said they wanted it, or we got the resources when we told the vendor, the seller, whoever it was, that we wanted it. So there's a lot of checking here, and you see it follows the plan, do, check, act cycle. So our major goal in control resources is to identify if resources were made available when we said they would be made available, and if they are being used at the right time. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll see you in our next video. Don't forget to check out the website, Praizion.com, if you're looking for training, coaching for the PMP exam, the CAPM exam. Stay tuned to the channel, subscribe, and at the same time, check out the website. See you in the next video.